Welcome everybody to the July 2022 the Tea and Tarot. Sorry, my system is giving me all these notifications. It's nice to be here with you and to be able to, I'm just trying to make it so that it's okay. Here we go. All right, great. To be here with you and to explore my brand new copy of the Wisdom of the Cailleach Oracle. This deck is made by Jane Brideson in Ireland, and it's only printed periodically. It's not always available, year round. So, for example, I had heard about this deck early on when it was first coming out, and I missed the first printing entirely. Then I was reminded of it again about a year and a half ago, and I went looking, and again, it was sold out. So I had to go, and there's only one way to get this deck. You actually have to follow the Facebook page and check, and she will tell you, now you can order. And then you have to post in the Facebook page that you plan to order it and send her an email to get on the list for a copy. So it's kind of like a treasure hunt. You're kind of going into this and, kind of have to bring your Lara Croft Tomb Raider skills and go stalk the Facebook page when she says that it's going to come available. But when it does, rush to get one, because it is absolutely glorious. And I'm going to walk us through the deck today.
Just a quick question, Yeshi.
Oh, sure.
I'm wondering if you, through Sacred Well, could order several. She doesn't allow it.
I wish. Nope, she doesn't let you do it like that. You have to order your own, and you can't. I don't think you can get them for stores. Although I can send an email and ask, but I don't think it's possible. It's a pretty strict setup. And yes, Tara says, I'm not on Facebook. Well, I can certainly keep my eye on the page for you, because I do get the notifications. And when the time comes, I'm happy to, let you know to go ahead and rush over there, to rush to the email and send a note. And I'll ask if I can get, a copy for other people. I'm not sure if I can. It comes with a black pouch, a guidebook, and then, of course, the deck itself. The deck has a really interesting, beautiful back that reveals the seasonal sort of cycle that she's following. And I'll show you, so you can see that snowflake kind of up at the top, the sickle, which represents kind of the autumn, the tree, and the deer, which represent like the summer, the berry, which represents that kind of spring, and then the spirals, which represent the kind of time of Bridget. So it's a, seasonal feast for the eyes and senses. She did all of this artwork, and the artwork is absolutely stupendous. So what I'm going to do is walk us through the deck. And one thing that's really interesting about these cards, oh, maybe that isn't a berry. Well, you'll see on the card, there's a berry, but there's also a hagstone. But through these cards, she basically takes us through kind of a wheel of the year, a seasonal and thematic arc. And then at the end of the collection of the thematic arc, which ends with the card home, then she introduces us to these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 crones. And the 7 crones, it seems, function similarly to a major arcana, whereas the other cards seem to function similarly to maybe a minor arcana. But it's not a tarot deck, so it's not strictly like that. But there's definitely these 7 crones, this council of crones, and each of them has her own poem written. So today I'm going to walk us through the deck and share the cards and the art with you, as well as some of the meanings. And in the guidebook, Jane writes a kind of narrative of the Cailleach and the different names that she went by, and some of the different presentations that she may have kind of been acknowledged in. And it's it's not like a long article, it's a short little explanation. And then there's a narrative that is all about her journey, how she picked up this work and took on this project. And it's, I'll just read the last section of that because I don't want to give away all her words, but just the last 3 sentences here. I rise from the table, and as her hand comes to rest in mine, blue shapes appear upon her skin. Petals, spirals, stars, ancient symbols bloom, then slowly fade into her flesh once more. Then, with surprising strength, her fingers grip my hand, and I'm pulled through the doorway. And so this story of kind of connecting with the Cailleach and having this journey is here. And then the descriptions of each card are pretty simple. They're not long. It's not a lot of sentences. They're offered in bullet points, but they're very direct, very clear, and very specific. So our first card in the deck is called Long Road. And you see a woman with long hair walking. Her back is to us. She's walking down a long road with dark trees rising up on the sides, and ahead of her, a portal with light. But what she's actually walking through, if you look closely, is the seasonal cycle. She's walking from the green trees into the orange and yellow, and then into the white wintry landscape. So it's, a card that's kind of saying, look, we're about to take a journey through a seasonal cycle. And so appropriately, this card, the main key words are travel, a new path, and exploration. And there are a few other bullet points that are listed for each card, but I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't want to give away her intellectual property. But I can share, I'll share the art and just the keywords of each card. But just so you know, if you decide to get this deck, there are a few more bullet points here than I'm going to share today. Okay. Someone did a painting like that for me, says Linda. Wow. Isn't that amazing? That's such a great kind of synchronicity. All right. The second card is Crossroads. And it shows a tree at a 4-way crossroads. And it's interesting because that 4-way crossroads kind of gently takes the shape of a crow, or a crow or raven, but maybe more like a crow. And hanging from the tree at that crossroads is a set of hagstones. So hagstones appear in a couple different spaces in this deck. And that's maybe, I thought it was a berry, but it may be a hagstone on the back here. So choice, parting, and a fresh start are the keywords associated with the crossroads. Next, we have the blackthorn, and I'll show you on the card. You see that there's a hagstone hung on the branch, but there's also berries, blackthorn berries on the branches. So there's maybe a little symbolism here about the stone and the berries. And blackthorn is, traditionally in the Celtic tree alphabet, it is about difficulties, shadow, obstacles, and that's consistent here. Obstacles, hard work, or caution. And here, for example, one of the bullet points she includes in the longer description is a disagreement, sharp words with another, clear the air before continuing. So there are these kind of specific meanings. And so the blackthorn, which in the Ogham and in the Celtic tree alphabet, if I'm not mistaken, the word for blackthorn is strife. So maybe someone can fact check me on that, but I think it might be STRAIF for that is the name of blackthorn or strife. And as an answer to that, the next card is the fire pit. And the words for the fire pit are passion, sacrifice, creativity. And there's an implication in this fire pit about doing a purification fire and releasing the past. So it's really follows well after the blackthorn. Okay. The next card is the moon. And here we start, this artwork just is stunning. Here we have a celestial goddess, arms outstretched, a spiral at her heart, almost looks like a shell, but isn't necessarily a shell, but a spiral, a coil. And her face is at ease, her hands are reaching. And the keywords for this card are intuition, dreams, and illusion. The next is lone thorn, strength, versatility, and survival. And here we have a woman growing out from a tree. She and the tree are one, standing and looking at the moon. And this is a card that recommends, it's kind of like a hermit, recommends a time of inner work and solitude. All right, so taking us into the winter, we have first snow. And this theme is going to repeat in the deck. We're going to have first snow, we're going to have later first shoots, and then later first fruits. So this is, kind of giving us an evocative journey through the seasonal landscape. First snow is a pause, a challenge, and plans. It's specifically saying this may speak to the beginning of a challenging period where we must self-restrain or distance ourselves. So it's an echo, first snow echoes a little bit of what Lone Thorn offered, where Lone Thorn is more like a hermit type card. This first snow seems like it's maybe more like a high priestess card, taking that opportunity to pause, to plan, to work your magic. Card number 8 is struggle, hard work, perseverance, and commitment, a period of hard work which will make demands of your energy and time. So this deck doesn't really pull any punches. She is very clear in this deck that there's, hardship in life, but out from under the dark cloak of sort of snow and stars that she's wearing, you see this little peak of green with some designs on it. See that? So that's struggle, but the next card is balance. So she's made it up the mountain, and now her green cloak is fully revealed with its magical symbols. And balance is a card of success, confidence, and achievement. And it's about being assertive and secure in yourself. She specifically says, do not be swayed by others. And so after that struggle, that uphill through the snow to reach that balance comes rest. And this face is reminiscent of the moon's face, very similar to the face in the moon card. Recuperation, patience, and retirement. We actually had this card in our daily divinations earlier this week. After rest, there are possibilities. So here we see our familiar character, and she's contemplating the cosmos. And the key words for this card are trust, hope, and potential. And as she's sort of looking at the cosmos above her, there are several shooting stars in the landscape. After possibilities, we have this beautiful card. It's called Beloved. And I think this is really fantastic because it shows an elder woman and her beloved. A lot of times lovers cards or cards depicting sensuality, sexuality, intimacy, and connection will depict, young people. But there's plenty of passion in our later years in life. And so, I love that she chose that this would be an elder figure embracing her beloved. Love, intimacy, and acceptance. Okay, so now here we are at first shoots. So you remember first snow. Now we're at first shoots, and it shows the hands of the Great Mother holding and supporting and nurturing that little fragile seed as it makes its way to the surface. Above, you see that there's still snow sort of dusting the landscape, and the trees haven't yet sprung out into life. But here is this little green shoot making its way. And this is sort of, a card of birth, beginnings, and new growth. So this is another card that we got earlier this week, and I think this is a really brilliant theme. It's called Lowering Sky, Storm, Upheaval, and Threat. And it depicts a dolmen with the clouds hanging low above it. And there's a sort of an ominous energy in this painting. But and of course, with the crow flying overhead, which is typically an omen, a single crow is sometimes considered a negative omen. And there's a sort of rain coming down, and the wind is sweeping across the landscape. But still, that dolmen stands there, that stone structure stands there. So there's an implication here that even if things feel stormy around us, we can take refuge. We can find and create our own protection. And after the rain clears, we have the sun. Now, the sun is in the same physical posture as the moon, but now instead of being depicted as kind of a cosmic night sky, she's depicted with the sun at her chest in vibrant, brilliant green and blue colors. Her hands are outstretched and her hair is streaming, and she is filled with joy. Her face is smiling, and the spiral that connects her womb to her heart is sort of reminiscent of that little sprouting seed reaching up for the sun that we saw back here in first shoots. I'll hold them beside each other so you can see. So there's the little stretching up of that shoot in the picture here, but then it's also kind of stretching up from within her womb. After this, now we're introduced to a new character in the deck, and we're going to see this character. Let's see. We're going to see this character 2 more times, 3 times in all. So this character is this rabbit, this hare, and the card is the greening. So after the sun comes, we have the greening of the fields. And this is a happy rabbit, nibbling on these flowers, these herbs, flourishing energy and ability, growth, fertility, and vigor. So the rabbit obviously inhabiting its traditional space as a bringer of fertility, representative of fertility, but it's, also got this really beautifully articulated face. And interestingly, the wisdom of the eyes and the face, even as this is a fertility card, if you really look at the face of this rabbit, it's got a very similar energy to the old woman that we're seeing throughout the deck, just in the eye and in the wisdom. So that's the greening. And then we have the well. Healing, nurturing, and self-care. And again, we've got several holy stones around this well. And the well is actually got some maidenhair fern growing there, which is significant for invisibility spells if collected on St. John's Eve. There's some sword fern here. There looks to be some other types of herbs and some clover perhaps, or some plantain or something like that. But there's a variety of different herbs pictured all around the well, which matches the theme of self-care. And we can see reflected in the mirrored surface of the well, a figure with a walking stick, perhaps someone who's come to receive healing. Next, we've got the first fruits. This card represents fruition, harvest, and fulfillment. And so remember the first shoots. I'll just go and grab it. There you go. Remember the hands from the first shoots that were cupping that little green tendril under the earth are now the hands that are holding the first fruits. Oh yeah, Linda mentions that the well really also looks like an eye. I'll hold that back up so folks can see it. Oh, you would know immediately, Linda, wouldn't you? Because you always paint eyes on your stones. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. I didn't catch that the first time around. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so the well. So the first fruits, and it looks like we've got some blackberries, some rose hips. It looks like some other little red berries. I don't know what, but maybe currants. But here they are. And they, of course, are in a heart shape because of the hands. So after the gathering of these aspects, the first fruits, we have the tribe. And this is, the key words for this are community, celebration, and support. And it shows 3 wizened beings gathered around a fire. You can see a kind of subtle pentacle in the fire, in the sticks that make up the fire. And it looks like they're sitting in, you know, some type of a yurt or hut or, you know, cave, and they've created their fire and they're having a laugh together. And this actually is a card that says, you know, you can undertake responsibility and assist others. And also you can ask for help and support and comfort of friends. So it has that dual implication. Then the setting sun, ending, parting ways, releasing. A very clear message of time to bring something to a close. A time of release. And it says here, can possibly represent the journey into spirit or end of life. Then the next is the mound, which depicts an entrance to a mound with stones and an inner cave, not that dissimilar from what we might see at something like Newgrange, but it's not exactly Newgrange. It doesn't have that like iconic front stone with the swirling spirals. But the mound is solitude, withdrawal, and inner focus. Then the ancestors. And we have all the hands. There's multiple different sets of hands, and they're holding all the various elements. And you'll note that in this particular, in the printing of it, but it's actually just in the drawing of it, that there's a chute in the area where we would normally think of as west. There's a flame in the area we would normally think of as east. There's a pool of water in the area we would normally think of as north. And there's a stone in the area we would normally think of as south. So take a peek at, it's sort of a very different elemental scale than what we're used to seeing in like a tarot deck, for example. But really beautiful, and all the hands supporting. And ancestors, the keywords are origins, forgiveness, and the past. And then we're down to the last 2 of these minor arcana, where we revisit our friend the hare, change, and the card represents transformation, and it shows the hare turning into a stone, turning into a dolmen, transforming. And there's sort of an implication that that dolmen was once a living being. And, you know, that is the way a lot of stone circles are depicted across the, you know, United Kingdom and what we might call the Celtic lands, that the stones are sort of depicted as once having been living beings. So transformation, rebirth, and restoration are the key words with this transforming hare. And then the hare appears one last time under a vast sky in a happy field of flowers that have gone to seed, with a home in the background, and the card is home. Security, sanctuary, and peace. And it says that this is a card about finding a new home, but it can also be a card about acceptance and affirmation from others. a feeling of at home. All right, so that's our journey through the minor arcana. Then it says here that these next 7 old women, the circle of old women is what she calls them, you know, that each of these in a different way embodies the Cailleach. So she writes here, the old women came alive, offering symbols and gifts, quietly whispering of their qualities and their significance to our lives. I have attempted to record fragments of their words, the fleeting images which appeared, and to make sense of the essence of each Cailleach as she revealed herself. And then I'll read, because each of these is a short poem. Shapes the land is the first one. Shapes the land. I am the force of nature, raw, raging, and unrestrained. I am clarity, daring, and grace, the bleak truth that sweeps away pretense, dissolving convention. I leave you naked in your skin. I am first snowfall of the waning year, white strands amongst the gray, stark, slumbering nature. You surrender to winter and wisdom's embrace. And the next is called Old Woman. And here she is. She's knitting. And as she's knitting this blanket, it's becoming the landscape. And you can see the mountains and the rivers and the dolmens and the stars. She's knitting a world into being. I am gnarled hands that knit the past into the present, preserving myths, keeping ancestors alive. I am your heritage, your hard lessons, the kindnesses, old conflicts, the good blood and the bad. My crooked fingers unravel knots, free tethered thoughts, release the ties that bind. I am the parting and the letting go, which heals your broken thread. Very powerful. Our third old woman out of the 7 is sovereignty. And here we see an old woman. She's wearing a hagstone necklace around her neck. She's wearing a green cloak covered in spirals, and she's holding a gnarled branch that nonetheless has some greenery trailing off of it. Sovereignty. I am courage, power, and inner strength, the flowering staff of freedom, your unbowed head, your rock, your shield, your struggle. I am the sweet soil of independence tilled by many hands, the land which nourishes your roots. I am your tears shed for the brave, your rainbow dreams, your sovereign state, and your arms which reach to the stars. Our fourth of the old women, and arguably my favorite card in the whole deck, is the Deer Mother. I love this depiction of the Deer Mother, and it shows an entire herd of spirit deer running into this fawn held by this Cailleach. I am mighty stag, doe in fawn, fierce guardian of the herd. I am your pathway to wild places, your solace, grief, and savage spirit. My worn hands and soothing song shall lead you over sacred hills, through thickets of uncoiling ferns, by twisted track, to find heart's ease deep in the valley of my embrace. Then we have the wise woman, and she's brewed some kind of magic in her bowl. She's wearing an arrowhead pendant around her neck. Her face is kind but firm, and she's offering you this bowl of nourishing medicine. I am softening skin creased by a million smiles, furrowed brow planted with seeds of hope, slow uncurling of inner vision. I am the arrow that flies to the heart, spiral path that snakes across the land, the white thorn by a sacred well. I whisper charms as breathing slows in rest, then tiptoe to your side. Our arms entwined, our bodies light, we dance into the many-colored land. The sixth of our 7 wise women here is the harvest hag. And she's got her sickle, and she's wearing a necklace of berries, and she's got the hair from our previous cards, and the hair is cuddled into her plaid wool cloak. And you'll see in this depiction that her hair, her braided hair, ultimately turns into braided wheat. And this is very significant because one of the things that the Cailleach and Baba Yaga have in common is that sometimes the last sheaf of wheat that is not harvested but is left standing in the field is known as the hair, and sometimes it's known as the Cailleach or as the Baba Yaga. It depends on where you're from. And that last sheaf of grain will be kind of left standing through the winter as kind of a sacrificial or talismanic blessing to the field. So there's an aspect here of the reaper, but also the life giver. I am rowan berries on a thread, fleet-footed hair beneath the moon, the keen-eyed reaping blade. I am the seed, sickle, and the sheath, ebb and flow of land and sun, life's waxing and decrease. I am your call to roam across the land, to fill your arms with grain and fruit, to reap your golden harvest, laughter, love, and tears. And then our final card in the deck, the Veiled One. And this is the image that's on the cover of the book. And it shows it's our old woman, but if you look closely at the card, she actually looks young in her face. Her hands are still kind of aged, and her hands have the symbols on them that Jane Brideson described in the opening to the deck. So if you look kind of closely, you see that her face is somewhat younger looking, but her hands are older and marked. I am ancient mountains, velvet valleys, black blanket of fertile sod. My wrinkled hands, smoothed sediments, heaped cairns, hollowed out the hills. Once my kiss made kings. Later, aged face reviled, body deemed intolerable, I was hidden beneath the veil, a mystery to unfold in time. Now I stand before you, ancient, ageless, your truth, your fear, your shadow, your final liberation as you lift the veil. So deep, so poetic. So that's the whole deck. It's not a huge deck, but it is a decent sized oracle deck, and the cards are large, which I really like for this deck. I often prefer, smaller cards, like when I'm just doing readings, because it's easier to shuffle, but I love the larger cards in this deck because then you can really see the artwork. I think if the images were smaller, we wouldn't really be able to see the level of detail, because there's a lot of detail in each of these cards. And I'm sure that if we were able to see like the original paintings, we would see even more layers of detail, because you know how in reproduction, no matter how clean the reproduction is, still sometimes things can go missing. So here's some thoughts about how you can work with this deck. Jane recommends a couple of different things. She says, first, that the meanings of the cards are based on her own interpretations. Your interpretations as you look at the images might be different. So she acknowledges right off the bat, you're going to take this and run with it and do what you need to do. What she recommends is that you create a sort of a regular time and ritual where you sit in the darkness in candlelight, and that you just rifle through the cards and pick kind of the first one that jumps out at you, and then put it where you can see it and look at the image until you can kind of visualize going into the image. And then once you're inside the image, to look around, to observe what's going on in the landscape, what feelings you're feeling, any words or images that come up for you while you're in that meditative landscape, and to feel free to then present your questions and to allow the voice of the Cailleach to answer those questions from within the, you know, her sacred landscape as depicted in the deck. And at the end to, you know, open your eyes and take notes in your journal, etc. And she also said you can actually do a meditation where you set all of the 7 circle of old women cards up as if they were like a council with you. And then you can envision that you go and stand or sit in the council with them, and you become the 8th of, you know, in the group. So that then you might look at the images, receive words, you know, if you set them up on your table, like look at the images, receive any words or symbols or intuition that comes your way from just doing that specific technique with the group of old women. So I liked the idea that you can kind of set up the whole major arcana of this deck and take a seat in that council. That felt really, really cool. I wondered if anyone felt like doing a reading with these, because what I think I would use these for if I were doing like a professional reading or a session with somebody is that I would probably draw one of these cards and 3 of my tarot cards, so that I would have the kind of overall message and thematic arc from the oracle card. And then I would get some more specific guidance in the tarot cards. So is there anyone who feels like they might like to submit a question to be contemplated today with this deck? I'd love to do a sample reading. It doesn't have to be anything life-changing. It's more fun if I read for someone else. Okay, go ahead, Shaylee. Thank you.
Hey, I don't really have a question, so I tell you what I do. How will my birthday work out this year?
Okay, message for your birthday for this year. And when is it again?
August 22nd.
August 22nd. So I'm just shuffling because I had them in order, so I want to get them out of order. We're gonna draw one of these and then 3 tarot cards. Okay. Right, and now 3 tarot cards. Okay, so I'm curious if for your birthday this year, your husband is planning to take you somewhere.
No, but I did tell him he's supposed to plan our outing for my birthday. So wherever we're supposed to do out for that day, and he's supposed to be planning it,
Gotcha.
which I
Okay.
normally don't have him do.
Oh, I see. Well, it's really, your reading is really good. It says, first of all, your thematic card is first fruits. So according to the book, let's see what she has to say here. Fruition, harvest, and fulfillment, the completion of a successful project, a time to celebrate, a gift, rewards of hard work and dedication, maturity, fulfillment of promises, time of abundance, fruition, and achievement. So, yeah, maybe wine tasting, says Linda, right? Or something, like that. But there does seem to be somewhere here a kind of a, not just like celebrating your birthday, but maybe kind of celebrating changes you've made in your life or things that you've accomplished, and really acknowledging you for, things that you're doing in your life. So that's sort of like a bigger thematic arc. But then I need to get your husband's number and text him and be like, you need to take her on a trip out overnight. Because what I see here is the 2 of Cups, the 4 of Wands, which typically is like a house card or a going to a new location card, and then the 10 of Pentacles, which is about family. So it makes me wonder a couple of things. One is he just taking you somewhere for part of the day, and then will your family join you for the rest of the day? Is it everybody coming for everything the whole time, or is it just the 2 of you? Because what I see here is that there's two aspects to your birthday. There's like a family party with everybody, and then there's whatever your husband is planning just for you.
Really short. My birthdays have always been a little bit of a struggle. But like I've gotten strep like 5 times for my birthday, 5 different years. And I've had all sorts of other issues. But my 15th birthday, my birth marked, I almost didn't survive it. I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. My 15th birthday marked Hurricane Andrew destroying my house, and I almost died that day. My 30th birthday marked my grandfather's death on my birthday. This is my 45th birthday. I have been terrified of this birthday for a long time.
Oh.
But what I did this year, what I've been doing for the last couple of years, has been trying to figure out how to celebrate it little by little. And it's been working. But this year I said, I'm not going to be afraid of it. I'm really going to try to celebrate. And so I'm having Lunasa at my house this year again, with the purpose of having my witchy family with me for celebration. And then I am also going to do small minor gatherings of family and friends to celebrate in individual portions. And then my 45th birthday, which will be a Monday, but my 45th birthday, I've told my husband that we're both taking off that day. and that him and I are gonna go do some sort of outing. What it is, I don't know. I've asked him to please plan it. I have no clue. So yes, there will be individual little family things, and then this one thing that'll be me and my husband together.
Gotcha. Oh,
But
that makes sense. Oh, and then of course that four of wands being you having everyone over to your house for your coven gathering, which totally makes sense. Yeah. And Dara says, well done. And it sounds like that cycle has ended and this will be a great day. Yeah, I think so too. I think that, you know,
I even went and I went to Naples a couple weekends ago, and they have the Naples winery, and there's a sparkling wine that they have called Hurricane. And I said, you know what? I'm guaranteeing a hurricane for my birthday. A sparkling bottle of wine.
yes.
It'll be cracked open for my birthday, and that'll be my hurricane for the year. That'll be that covered right there. So
Yes. I love it. Yeah.
I'm systematically working to try to make sure that this birthday it breaks that 15-year issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. I think it's, you know, that you may have just cleared this cycle and that this cycle is, you know, one that's been, you know, here's the thing. Days of power can go either way. When it's just a powerful day, it can just go either way. So the reality is it's not necessarily that your birthday is bad, but it is obviously every 15 years, your birthday is very powerful. And so that can be just as powerful good as it's been powerful bad in the past. So let's, you know, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Cailleach. We're all going to hold for you to have a nice, beautiful, easy, happy birthday and a happy birthday season where you're having all these nice, like small scale gatherings and kind of letting the power distribute out to lots of kind of small group settings. And then on the day itself, you and your husband just having a sweet 2 of cups kind of day together. And I still hope he's going to take you on a trip. I still hope, I don't know, maybe Sunday night, maybe just start packing a little overnight bag a week before and let him see you doing it and see what happens. What are you doing? I'm packing my overnight bag. Why? For my birthday.
Just so you know, you actually do have my husband's phone number because you have my phone number. It's the next number. We are sequential.
Oh.
I am 4406. He is 4407.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm definitely texting him, just so you know. I'm going to fairy godmother this situation and try and arrange for you to go away on Sunday and come back Monday and have an overnight somewhere. Because, you know, a little change of scenery does the heart good. And we will be cheering for you. And you have to remember to post in the Tea and Tarot group how your birthday celebrations are going so that we can cheer you on and send you protection. Thank you for being the test subject for the reading. I appreciate it. So this is the way that I would use these cards. I would use these cards by, you know, kind of picking one and then allowing a 3-card tarot reading to fill in the blanks. But the other thing that I think is really powerful that you might want to think about doing is if you had, for example, a client who came in and was thinking, you know, she was really struggling. She's not sure. Maybe she's kind of on the cusp of leaving a job or leaving her marriage or, you know, making a big change in her life. You could dig through this deck and pull out that sovereignty card and say, okay, it sounds like this is the goal. Here's the sovereignty card. I'll read the poem and I'm just going to read it to you one more time so you can hear it. Let me find her. Where are you, sovereignty? There you are. So here she is. I am courage, power, and inner strength, the flowering staff of freedom, your unbowed head, your rock, your shield, your struggle. I am the sweet soil of independence, tilled by many hands, the land which nourishes your roots. I am your tears shed for the brave, your rainbow dreams, your sovereign state, and your arms which reach to the stars. So you could feasibly take this card out, read that incredibly beautiful, impactful piece of writing, hand this card to the woman in front of you and say, you hold this and look at this. And then you could, you know, during the reading, we're just going to let her sit here and be a reminder of this message. And then through the reading saying, so this is what our goal is. So here's what we're going to look for in the reading. What do you need to do to get there? What kinds of things may come up along the way? What kinds of obstacles might there be? How would you get around those obstacles? What would you do that would that might self-sabotage this goal? Are there any things that you should be aware of about how you know, step into your power, what you need to know about your power? And so you could just be there with this card, holding the space for the desired outcome, and then flipping your tarot cards or other oracle deck that's something else to get the messages about what it's going to take to get there and what it's going to be like when she gets there. And that can be a really powerful way, you know, to place an idea in front of someone without making them feel weak. Like if a woman comes and sits down in front of me and is like, I just want to feel happy again. I want to feel free again. You know, as a reader, it's not going to do me like a ton of good to be like, well, so like, have you broken up with him yet? Like, are we going to just read about this for the third or fourth time now? Like, I don't have anything new to tell you. Same guy, same problems. I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's not going to be helpful for me to, even though as readers, we all know those situations where you're like, well, maybe third time's the charm. Let's say it again, you know, and you kind of have to, but I do actually have a policy that if it's happened enough times that I'll just say to someone, you know, I can't accept payment for a reading from you because the information still stands and I don't want to devalue our process together. So anyway, you could, instead of saying, well, you know, like, I don't know what to tell you, you're still with the same guy, you could instead say, well, you know, here's this image. This is what we're really aiming for here. So why don't we do a reading to see what would get you there? So then it's not as, you know, kind of, it's a little bit depersonalized, but you're still going to get the message that you need to give her about her situation. So I feel like we could invoke these grandmothers in this deck and invite them to be allies to us in our readings with clients and kind of help people see it in a way that maybe by looking at the art and hearing the poem, something catches for them and they don't just feel like, oh, this lady is just here telling me what to do, or, oh, this is just her telling me what her personal opinion is. So those are some thoughts on that. Anybody have anything that went by in this that you're like, oh, I really want to see that one again, or I felt a resonance there, or would anybody else like me to draw one of these cards for you? Yeah, Cosette, would you like me to draw one?
I would love that. Thank you. Because it's Monday for me, so I'm just getting started.
Okay, just getting started with this week. All right, let's find a card for Cosette. Ancestors is your card, Cosette. Ancestors. Well, my goodness. Okay, so I'll read aloud the ancestors for you. Origins, forgiveness, and the past. Your roots, your ancestors, your heritage. Lessons learned, time to move on. Understanding and forgiving your former self. Time to leave behind your past, your old patterns, and former beliefs. So there you have it. What a powerful, powerful card. Yeah. And is there anything else you'd like me to look at about this, or is that super clear?
No, it's just interesting because usually ancestors just want more. Like, give me more, pay more attention to me. I'm over here, you know. So to hear kind of another side of that, of just like, I know, Linda, I know, isn't that funny? And so to hear this kind of like, we're good. This is enough for now. Let's try, move on to something else. So
Yeah,
yeah.
very powerful that this is just the subject of your blog post this week. And
Yeah.
also, you know, that there is sort of an implication here that if there's more to be known, it's not necessarily going to be revealed through the world of science. It would be more maybe revealed on the inner planes through your own work. And I also felt like, you know, that this was a really positive affirmation because you just finished your end of life doula training.
Yeah. There's so much happening in that area and that space too that I need to catch up.
Yeah.
And catch up with my friends on. So
Yes, it's powerful. And I'm excited, you know, for where that work might lead you. And obviously being at the side of future ancestors, you know, is implied here as well. So thank you for letting me pick a card for you. Is there
Thank
anybody
you.
else who'd like one today before we close?
Yes,
No.
this is Kristen. I'd like one.
Okay, great. We'll have Kristen next, and then were you going to say you wanted one, Tara?
No, I was going to ask a question.
Oh, okay, great. So I'll do this card and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
All right, for Kristen. Long road, the first card in the deck. It is travel, a new path, and exploration. A long journey lies before you. It will be a period of exploration, discovery, and challenge. There's a search for understanding, and it's time to leave behind an old way of life and embark on a different way of being. So sort of just at the beginning of some new journey, Kristen.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And how about Tara, what was your question?
Just curious, Jane, the woman who does this, does she have a spiritual reason for holding it so close? Does she change the writing or the cards over this period of time? Or I don't know, I'm trying to figure out why she does it that way.
Well,
And by the way, the cards are amazing. They're really amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm very glad you did this.
So, Jane Brideson or Brideson doesn't have a particular like website or anything like that. What she has is a blog spot called The Ever Living Ones, and we can see a little bit about maybe we can find out why she does what she does. These cards only represent a small percentage of her work. And if you go to this blog spot, which is called, it's theeverlivingones.blogspot.com, you can see quite a bit of her work. And let's see, let's go to the home page. And see if she explains. Nope, she does not explain why. But I will say, you know, when she wrote about it, when she was making the deck in the first place, she basically alluded to the fact that she said, working on the wisdom of the Cailleach oracle cards has become all-consuming. I've found myself challenged, surprised, and thrown into unexpected places now and then. The old woman does not make life easy. I've placed my blog on hold for the next 6 months until the cards are published. But here's a glimpse of some of the images. And so she gives some of the images from the deck, and that's it. So, you know, when I looked her up online, she is an older woman with white hair, and she's living in Ireland, and she's doing this all on her own, you know, pretty much. So I get the sense that it's really that she has like projects, a lot of different creative projects that she works on, and that she kind of cycles back around to this one, but doesn't make it a full-time job.
But does that mean that she does something with it before she puts it out for print again?
I don't think so. I mean, I think
It just sort of sits there.
yeah, I think, but I mean, just the process of putting in a deck and ordering it and stewarding it and then packing it all up and shipping it, that might be enough. And I see in the chat, thank you. It looks like, yeah, there's a different energy in small runs as opposed to huge mass market runs. And oh, and thank you for sharing Cosette's blog. Wonderful. And, you know, just if you wanted to see Jane Bridson's blog, you can look it up, Jane Brideson. I don't know if it's Brideson or Brideson. I don't know. It's hard to know. But it says here that, you know, she basically like blogged in December of 2019 and then blogged again in January of 2022. So I just get the sense that, you know, like many of us, she's on her own whole sacred time schedule so that she can accomplish the magical work she wants to accomplish in the world. I certainly can respect that. So I hope everyone enjoyed this today. This is just like a fun little dive into this oracle deck. I do have a quick little, you know, bonus I wanted to share, which is that I also got another deck. This was like a deck, 2 decks in 1 week. So decadent, haha. It's called the Witch Folk Tarot. So this is actually a tarot deck. Let me what's this so you can see. There's the box, the Witch Folk Tarot. And here's the book. It's just like a little booklet that comes with it. The art on these cards, I am like I haven't gotten a new tarot deck since maybe 2018. I've been working with the same 2 since 2018, maybe 2019. But this deck was calling to me, so I got it. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still thinking about it. Here, let me show you what I mean. Like some of it I just love. And then others of it, I just don't know. It reminds me of the Deviant Moon Tarot, even though it doesn't look like that. it looks different, but I find the Deviant Moon Tarot to be really evocative and disturbing. And this deck is also very evocative and disturbing. Here's our Empress. She's amazing, right? Like, I love her. She's got the mushrooms, she's got the flowers, she's got a, raven or a crow flying out of her chest. She's adorned. She's, wearing her babushka to high heaven. She's amazing. I love this Empress. Spooky and powerful. And then here's the Hierophant. It's so weird. There's an antlered woman at the bottom. There's a shadow woman at the top. There's these two other elemental women on the sides. There's a big eyeball in the middle. I don't get it. What's happening? I don't understand. I suppose I could look in the book and see if they describe it. Let's try. The gaze is closed and the inward eye says strange things that are heard only in the darkness and only by the chosen. This is the absolute power over mortals. But the tamer of the element arouses the power of struggle and understands the language of the creature, speaking absurd sounds for the common man. Nature opposes to such unearthly forces. But what will happen this time? Will love break the spell? Who is the one of the four elements that will allow darkness to swallow her soul? This is the one that burns the brightest. I don't know what to say to that. It's so disturbing. So Tara says, maybe that's the way it was meant to be. Yes. Wow. Linda says, I ordered this deck in August of 2019 and never received it. Wow. So weird that you never got it. Did you? I'm sure you followed up and whatever. I ordered it online. I didn't, or I maybe even bought it. I can't remember if I bought it in person or ordered it online. But either way, I did get it and I am sitting with it and I'm so uncertain about it because it's just weird. And then some of the cards are just like strange. Like, for example, in this deck, even though in the little booklet, it says page, knight, queen, king, in the actual deck itself, it says knave, knight, queen, king. So there's a little disconnect. Then the knave of pentacles, like what is it's like a Marseille. It's just like a symbol of it's just like a symbol with a flower and an eyeball. Creepy eyeball flower in the middle of some strange veve. What the hell is going on? That's not the Knave of Pentacles I know. The Knave of Pentacles I know kind of, is like dreamily painting in a corner or like carrying a pile of school books under his arm. I'm down with that. Even the difference in the wording, the implications of the word between page and knave. Like a knave has a different connotation. It's like a more rakish kind of a creature than a page. A page is, you think of a page as being like, I will help you. I'm like mama's little helper. You don't think of a knave as mama's little helper. A knave is like over there wearing gray sweatpants trying to tempt you. That's how I see it. But, what do I know? I'm just a tarot reader. I'm just the fortune. That's what I tell my clients when they don't like what I'm saying. I'm like, well, what do I know? I'm just the fortune teller. You go do whatever you want. So to that end, buy this deck or not, I'm not super sure about it, but it is disturbing and it gets you thinking. And I might go creeping back to the relative safety of my Tarot of the Cat People deck, which is my personal favorite. I hope everyone had a great time today. I had a great time sharing with you. Definitely get on the list for Jane's amazing oracle if you feel called to work with the Cailleach, or even if you feel like you haven't found good decks that have adequate representation of elders. Because I could really see, if I had a client over 60 come in, pulling this deck out, and that it would really speak to an elder to be so represented in the deck that they're looking at. So that's my 2 cents. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for coming today. Good luck with all your stuff. Bye.